to put up with him, and it wasn't finished. And George, he called each and every one of us, everybody that's on this tour and on the show, including Mike Epps as well, but to come, and we all donated our salaries in order to complete this the statue. And from there, it sparked into a night that been on the tour. We've been on tour for over 3 years, and it led to this TV show. So it was a blessing, and it did come from George's heart, and it was just an idea that he had in his head. So.
Awesome.
But also as a Latino, I could not leave anything half done. And I actually took a trip out to see Richard Pryor's statue, and nothing has made me prouder in my comedy brothers and in the fact that this man who was a little bit shunned by his hometown would now be standing at a corner that has been redone and stand proudly 7 feet tall, and Richard Pryor is
what a blessing it is to see the late Charlie Murphy in this. I believe this was one of his final performances. Can you guys share what Charlie meant to you, and how was it working with him through the years?
I mean, well, Charlie was one of these guys who you know, he had to come out of the shadows of another one of the greatest comedians, his brother Eddie. And, you know, for Charlie to start stand-up so late in life, but he was a writer, he wrote a lot of the movies, you know, was a part of played great movie characters, and he started stand-up, and he made a name for himself, and stood on his own 2 feet, never really using Eddie as any kind of crutch. And so, well, you know, when he came on the tour, he was willing to accept being the little guy. He didn't need to be, you know, he was cool with being under us, doing less time than us. Any of those things, he was just really honored to be on the stage. And so that's what we learned about him. He was just such a man's kind of man. Like, you know, that tough exterior dude that he gives is really him. Like, he really is like, you know, he's one of those dudes where you like, let me go in here and talk to Charlie. You know, because he gonna give you're gonna have to be a man.
Right.
You know, and so, but, you know, as in the last few years, when we can tell that he was ill, we again, as brothers, we try to encourage him, and motivate him and keep him motivated. He was a single father at the time, so he would literally just do the tour and get on the first plane smoking and get back home to be with his kids. It was just all so honorable, and we loved being with him. You know, he was starting to be ill by the time we started to shoot. But, you know, his spirit was one where he was there for us. He wanted to be there for us. Yeah. So we were really glad. And he does shine on here all throughout the season. He's just funny. His personality starts to pop out. And I think people will just, you know, it's really special to know that, you know, one of his last, you know, great performances is in here with us.
With you guys. So and I saw the emotion, George, so I know it's, if you can't speak on it, I understand. It's still fresh, so.
Well, I would say that he is hilarious, and he was, like Cedric said, I have put darkness on this part of my hand right here in honor of he was great. And no better storyteller, and no better laugh.
Yeah. All right, Charlie Murphy. Each of you on the show is playing a slightly heightened version of yourself. Slightly. So my question is, did you guys decide how you were going to send yourself up, or did your comedy brothers say, oh no, this is you, and this is the way you gonna do it?
You know, it was a combination. I mean, you know, we all tried to you know, when we were kind of doing the show, we all had these ideas of what we thought we would play. And then, you know, it was a question. I know Eddie he thought every script was personal. So Eddie would come in and be like mad at the script. I don't say that shit. I have to walk down the hall by myself. So you know, we tried to tell him it's a heightened version of yourself, you know. Yeah. And once he got it, then we all decided, like, oh, you know what, it's better for us to just take it up, you know. So I drink a lot more on this show than I do.
I would say that the definitive moment that I think we knew we had a show was that you know, whenever we had an issue, we would all come to my dressing room and we would close the door and we would try to hash it out between the 5 of us, you know, and one time we were in there and we were, you know, smoking marijuana for about an hour. Finally somebody got the courage to knock on the door and I went to the door and I said, "What? We're having a meeting." And it was just silence and they go, "It doesn't smell like good, man." And I think that's when we knew we had something that people might want to consider to be different. You know, and also for, you know, for me, it's a thing where, you know, like I don't want to do things that people expect me to do, you know. I took a lot of heat from the Latino community about why I didn't do a show with 4 other Latino comedians, but, you know, these guys aren't just comedians, you know. I have a 20-year plus relationship with Cedric and DL and Eddie and Charlie. I love from the moment I met him when he did my talk show, and I don't think I've ever met a dude that was more of a real person than Charlie.
Yeah.
But all enjoy it. You know what?
When we do these shows, you know, you kind of shoot them, you go in, we're still on tour, so we go in, we shoot the shows, then we would go and leave, and everybody just break up, and tonight was our first time actually seeing the shows, and we were laughing our ass off.
Some of my BET, anti-BET posts. Hashtag fucking finally. It has been a year and a half. I mean, you know, my daughter's in England. That's how long it's been. What makes it in London?
You guys both broke ground when it comes to minorities on television and stand-up. Is there, how do you feel like the situation is now, representation is now on television, and do you feel it's better? And are there any comedians or shows that you're like, they got next, that's where we're going, where we need to go?
Well, you know, absolutely. I mean, you know, it's you know, Fresh Off the Boat and Blackish and all the wonderful entertainment there, the Netflix and, you know, Mindy and Hulu's and just the amount of diversity in there, absolutely. You know, from 2007 when my show went off the air and I was a little bit thought that it was as white as it could be. It has taken. I was impressed by cavemen. Listen, I might not be the most involved person, but a fucking but a testament to what I truly believe is that from the time my show premiered in 2002, it has never been off the air in 15 years.
It's amazing.
So that's what
Yeah, definitely excited about the landscape of television now. I mean, you know, when we came on, it was, you know, even back in the days of the Steve Harvey show. There was a lot of new networks, and they were doing like all the predominantly minority-based shows. But now, you know, you have, you know, again, like Blackish, and Anthony's a great friend of ours. You know, even the Carmichael show didn't, you know, get you know, you love Insecure and ATL and on, and even, you know, even excited about the Bear. I haven't even seen it, but you know, it makes me think of, I do a little recurring role on Superior Donuts, and it makes me think about the young guys, the young talent that get, you know, they have these great opportunities now. And so, you know, I think that this, you know, television is starting to spread out. Really commend, you know, BT, even, you know, in the years of doing like Real Husbands and trying to push something, and the New Edition story was, of course, everybody's great. And, you know, being Mary Jane. All these are those kind of go-to shows. Like when you put on, you know, anybody's married, you know that this is a part of being married. You have to have your show that you watch. You know? So you go, did you watch it without me? You know? The whole thing, you know, like so. Only one I get is Game of Thrones, because my wife, you know, she has no idea what the hell these dragons are doing. But everything else we have to watch together, including being Mary Jane, and so, you know. But you know, it is good to know that you can turn on the TV at any given time, almost at any given night, and find, you know, you know, recognize that people of color and people of different races, all kinds of things are happening on television. So it's great.
Do you see yourselves as like the elder statesmen now? Like, are you the ones that the Jermaine Fowler? George, let me finish the question. It might actually be really good. Just give me a minute. Like, because you're a wealth of information, and you're, you know, at 25, you're a wealth of information. Do you feel like that? Do you like if you go out to an event, the younger guys come up and go, "Hey man, do you have any?" And what is the best advice you give to a young comic coming up in this day and age? It's things that you guys didn't have to. They have it a little easier than you do. So what do you tell them?
Well, you know, there's so many different things now. You know, like I would tell Arsenio, you know, we sound like two old dudes. Hey, remember when you used to have to leave the house to get good?
Yeah.
You know, and now you could almost do a podcast or do videos or light yourself on fire and get a following. But I don't think that there's, just like on Broadway, I don't think an actor would trade any moment for doing a play and being out there in front of people. Nothing can replace being on a stage and going out there and not knowing the temperature of the audience. And you know, one of the things that was great about this tour is that I had never performed in front of as many African American people as I had on this tour. And some of the places that we went to, Mobile, Alabama, Birmingham, Charlotte, wherever there was racial insensitivity, we went. And it's hard to change the spectrum when the ticket says 8, but the show starts at 9.
George has this thing where he likes to get to, you know, again, because he's used to doing, you know, like shows that are for people that read the tickets.
Yeah.
So, like, he would have this thing, like, when he would be leaving the hotel and going to his dressing room, like, at 5, we'd be like, where are you going? He's like, oh, I'm going to the venue. You guys coming over? Relax, bro.
I would literally be there. There would not be a stage in the arena. Am I here on the right night?
Yeah. At 8:13, people are still ironing.
Do you guys give each other, is there a scenario and like an end game, like we need to get to this point in the scene but have a free-for-all? Or is it completely scripted?
I can't remember.
No?
We feel so bad for the writers. They would come in with these scripts, guys, you know, and we go, yeah, that's great. That looks good. Okay. Turn the cameras on. Let's go. But for the most part, it was, you know, we did have storylines.
Yeah.
So you did have to kind of know the storyline, and we would like to, because we are all kind of loose performers, and we all kind of, you know, have this degree of improvisation. We had to have kind of things that toss to the next guy.
Right.
So it was that, but you know, that didn't go well either.
But also, there was a night that we all had our own Escalades, and you know, mine parked first, and Cedric was in the back, and I got out, and Cedric didn't get out, and they go, Cedric's not coming out, and I said, what do you mean he's not coming out? And I walk over there, I tap on the window, and the window goes halfway down. He goes, you know, dog, I don't want to go in there, man. There's a lot of lights, there's a lot of people. Window goes up. I'm like, hey, man, I'm just going there for a little while. He goes, no, I think I'm just going to go back to the hotel. Window goes back up. And I roll the window, he rolls the window down again, and I said to him, listen, do you want to be a period or do you want to be an exclamation point of the evening? And he goes, I'll be right out. And then we went to go eat, and there was somebody with us who brought their mom, and the mom was divorced, but she had a fetish with police officers.
Yeah.
And there was a cop eating by himself in the corner of this diner. And this woman went up on him and like sat on his lap. He's eating like some turkey and mashed potatoes. He's got this woman on his lap. She's rubbing his back. Goes, my mom has a fetish with police officers. And we saw it unfold in this diner.
And she left with him. Y'all take care of my baby.
That can only happen on the road.
Yeah, exactly. Which will be in the second season.
So you guys were on the road for 3 years with the show. Did you guys get on each other's nerves a lot of time together? It's like a band on the road. Were there moments where you were like, don't talk to me, stay away from me, leave me alone?
No, you know, for the most part, we all get along really well. I mean, you know, there are differences, you know, again, you know, because once we kind of, you know, once the tour gets going, I always talk about Georgia has the most famous friends ever. And it, you know, probably the combination of his talk show and just his personality, but you just never know. Like you'll go in George's room and, you know, there'll be like Lee Trevino, the golfer, Eddie Van Halen, and then the damn Geico lizard. Accent is real. The accent is real.
Was there any pie? And Carlos Santana say, yeah, there's some apple pie. But yeah, I don't know where that, that. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to try to describe every dressing room. Eddie Griffin's is,
Oh my God.
Do it.
Anarchy.
probably the most intense, like a fighter. He's got guys yelling at him and jumping up and down. He's preparing to take the stage, and you're just like, wow. Okay, and then Cedric's a little bit more mellow. They got the hats. There's music playing. There's there's rum in there. There's
Nice.
And then DL has and when you watch the comedy Get Down, watch with this in mind that DL's feet hurt in every scene. Every episode, because every shoe he buys hurts him. So when you see him walking, he walks gingerly. So he has a size 7. And Charlie would always come into my dressing room, but I had never gone into his. And when I went into his, it was an oasis of Popeye's chicken.
That was great because, like, again, when you like on these tours, we all like, you get real fancy because, they like, what do you want in your rider? And I'm like, you know what, let me get the mushrooms with risotto, and I'm gonna have some shrimp scampi. And then, I got all this fancy food and stuff, and then Charlie always calls it Popeyes and Burger King. By the end of the night, I got a room with just full of great food, and everybody's in Charlie's room like, what do you want to eat?
We know that George is always on time or early. Who is late? Who was the one that every single got in there right in the nick of time for the show? Cedric. Somebody said Cedric. That's what I heard.
Yeah, someone who knows me. And I always blame it on the 405. I don't care. I don't care what city we're in.
Show and they had a dog in the back. They were sniffing around, and I stayed out on the loading dock. I was like, "What's that dog doing sniffing around?" And the police officer goes, "It's for bombs." I said, "Okay, I'm coming in." It was for marijuana. I'm staying out.
You each have teams of funny people, I'm sure, that work with you through the years, and the show, again, it's heightened. It's a heightened version of you, but the show has a tone that is uniquely your voices. So do you guys have someone from your team in the writer's room, each of you, or how did they get your voices so perfectly, aside from the ad-libs you're doing?
Well, I do. I have a guy that he works with me. He's worked with me on a lot of my shows. He's normally my opening act. And so I had him in the writing room, Malik Sannon, Malik S., funny young guy, real funny. And so, I would have him in the room just to make sure that they kind of like, if they started to write in a direction of something I would do. But, the thing about us is that we all trust each other. So, a lot of this stuff is just things that's coming out of our heads at the time. And so, Eddie had his cousin there who's also like bodyguard and manager, boat dealer.
I think we were in Kentucky and they said, a guy's coming in and he's got some stuff, he might want to come and see you. I said, all right, bring him in. And usually you might get like, Vicodin or maybe some, Norcos. This guy had, he had Cialis, he had Viagra from Pfizer. That's when you know your tour's a little bit older than pharmaceutical Viagra. Where? Bring that guy in here.
What do you guys think is the secret to a long friendship in this industry? Because a lot of times people act as if there's not enough to go around, and you guys are going on a lot of the same stages with a lot of the same fans. So how do you guys keep this together for 20 plus years, all of you?
You know what I'm gonna say, I don't think I've ever said this before, is that comedians, almost like boxers, tend to perform in a singular environment. And I did, and I kept myself away from people, and I'm a bit of a recluse and a little bit of a loner, and I spent a lot of time by myself. But in this tour with these guys, I realized how much I love Cedric, how much I love all these guys, and it's a thing I never would have imagined, because I always felt more comfortable by myself. But then when you open yourself to these guys, you see the love on that screen and how important that is. So I would say the way to do it.
I mean, that's probably, for me, it's been probably a strong suit of mine. I've always been kind of self-confident and I enjoy working with other people. I have no problem with people being who they are. Like, you can be anything around me. Like, I don't judge you. I don't really care. So I've never been one of those people who had to tell me like, oh, this guy's this. And be like, no, I don't give a shit. So the opportunity of being on the Kings of Comedy, was, again, there was a lot of strong personalities, but I kind of like just rock with myself. And then when you find that thing that you love about that individual. Right. And and I mean, on this tour, we've just been having a great time. And one of the most hurtful moments on this tour that's happened to me, Yvette, was...
What is it, Cedric?
And it's something that, I mean, you see us right now. You see us right now. If you go to our comedy tour, it's a moment in the night that you'll know that anybody here from here on out, if you ever go and see us on tour, you're going to know this moment is stabbing me in the heart. George, from the stage, when announcing DL, goes, my best friend.
He gets in DL's rider. Say it one night, on Monday I caught shit. But I would say that
it was the best answer ever. I couldn't even answer it. All I had was like green M&Ms on my rider.